Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert, and I'm really pleased to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to this online learning journey. Now, when you think of a luxury hotel, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of people, it's that incredible, perfectly green landscape. But what if I told you that maintaining that amazing first impression is actually one of the biggest hidden costs and sources of waste in our industry? Today, we're going to look at how AI is completely changing that game, starting right from the ground up.
In luxury hospitality, that guest experience really begins the moment they arrive on property. And those pristine lawns and gardens, they're not just there to look pretty, they are a promise. They send a powerful, nonverbal message to the guest that says, we care about every single detail. It's an absolutely critical part of the whole luxury aesthetic.
All right, let's dive into our agenda. First, we'll uncover the hidden costs behind that perfect landscape. Then, we'll get introduced to the AI that's designed to manage it all. We'll see how it syncs up with the sky, gets down to root-level precision. And finally, we'll look at the huge sustainable advantage this gives any hotel operation.
So let's start with the big challenge. That beautiful landscape we just talked about? Well, it's often the single biggest source of water waste for a hotel. It's a massive inefficiency that, honestly, most properties and even the guests don't really think about.
I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we? That slightly embarrassing moment when you see sprinklers going at full blast during a rainstorm. The reason for this is pretty simple. Traditional irrigation systems just aren't very smart. They run on a basic timer, usually set to go off at 4 in the morning, with absolutely zero awareness of what's actually happening in the real world.
And this really gets to the core of the change we're seeing. We're moving away from a simple clock that's stuck on a rigid schedule to an intelligent system that uses real-world data to make decisions. You see, this isn't just about automation. This is about true intelligence.
So, what's the solution to all this waste? Well, it's a piece of technology that completely reinvents how hotels can manage their grounds, turning what was once a huge cost center into a showcase for smart, sustainable operations.
And let's be super clear here. This is not just a fancier timer. The Rachio controller is basically a cloud-connected AI brain for your garden. It completely replaces that old simple clock on the wall, and it transforms watering from a blind, scheduled task into an intelligent, data-driven operation.
So you're probably wondering, how does this AI actually know when to water? And, maybe more importantly, when not to water? Well, it all starts by looking up and gathering an incredible amount of data from the sky. The engine that powers all this is a system called Weather Intelligence Plus, and its only job is to create an unbelievably accurate, hyperlocal weather forecast. We're not talking about a forecast for your city, but for the hotel's exact GPS coordinates. So where does all that precision come from? Well, the AI is constantly pulling in and analyzing data from this massive network. We're talking satellite imagery, more than 300,000 personal weather stations, and all sorts of other atmospheric sensors. It combines all of that to build a perfect picture of the conditions right there at your property.
Now, the system then uses some pretty complex science. It doesn't just ask, hey, is it raining? It calculates something called the evapotranspiration rate. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful, but it's just a key metric that measures how quickly water is leaving the soil and the plants. It tells the AI exactly how thirsty the landscape truly is at any given moment.
So here's how that all works in the real world. The AI looks at the chance of rain, it calculates that evapotranspiration rate, and then it figures out if the soil already has enough moisture. If a storm is rolling in, or if it just rained last night, the system automatically triggers a skip. It saves water before a single drop is even used. But the intelligence doesn't just stop with the weather. The system actually gets even more precise by tailoring the watering plan for every single zone of the landscape right down to the soil itself.
Think about it. A hotel garden is almost never uniform, right? You've got flower beds that might have sandy soil, big lawns with more clay, and maybe some sloped areas. The grounds manager can input all of these specific details, the soil type, the kinds of plants, the slope of the land, for each individual zone, which gives the AI an even more detailed map of what the landscape needs. And by using all that zone data, the AI then figures out the perfect soak time. So instead of just blasting water that runs off onto the pavement, it delivers it in cycles. This lets the water soak deep into the soil and get right to the roots where it's needed. This is a huge game changer for saving water and for keeping the plants healthy.
And get this, the system is even smart enough to account for other factors, like wind. On a windy day, a traditional sprinkler just mists water all over the place. It evaporates, it gets blown onto buildings, walkways, or even onto guests.
The wind skip feature actually detects high winds and automatically hits pause on the system until things calm down. So what's the bottom line? After all this cool tech, what does it actually deliver? Well, it's a really powerful combination of cost savings, smarter operations, and a real, tangible commitment to sustainability. Here it is. This is the headline number. By using a data-driven strategy like this, hotels can reduce their outdoor water consumption by up to 50%. That is a massive, massive impact on both the utility bill and the hotel's environmental footprint. And this chart just puts that 50% savings into a really clear perspective. That first bar, that's your typical water use with an old system. The second, much shorter bar, shows you the impact of the Rachio AI. The gap between them, that represents a huge reduction in costs and waste, year after year. It's an incredibly clear return on investment.
And you know, the benefits go way beyond just the water bill. Operationally, you get healthier plants because you're not overwatering them and causing things like root rot. But from a brand perspective, this is huge. You now have a powerful sustainability story you can tell your guests, showing them that even your beautiful garden is smart and eco-friendly. And that's something that modern travelers really care about.
There's a quote from the source material that just sums this all up perfectly. This technology transforms irrigation from a mindless chore into a data-driven strategy. It's no longer just something you have to do. It's something that actively enhances the property's performance and its reputation.
So, the big takeaway here is that smart irrigation is really just the beginning. As you all start your careers in this amazing industry, I want you to think about this. If AI can bring this level of intelligence to a garden, what other parts of a hotel are ready for that same kind of transformation? Energy management? Housekeeping schedules? That is the future of hospitality that all of you are going to help create.